Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Deciphering My Experience. I'm Eric Hecker, and I just wanted to talk to you guys while you're all hunkered down, because it dawned on me that most of you did not spend a year at the South Pole Station or winter over at the South Pole and are not familiar with these hunkering down and isolation situations. So I just wanted to maybe help you folks out and give you some of my insights. We had in the programs what they called coping strategies. And we were trained about this because they knew that we were going to be isolated, but now you guys are finding yourself in a circumstance that you're probably wholly unprepared for. So here's a coping strategy for boredom that I came across, and it's kind of the name game. I put together some stuff on the whiteboard here for everybody to take a look at as usual, and I have some links that I'm going to be putting underneath in the description. And the first one is going to be a link for the actual CIA.gov Freedom of Information Act request cell. So basically you could jump into that cell, punch in anything that you want, and it'll look through their released declassified archives, and it'll let you know if you got a hit, and you can take a look, and it's a lot of fun. The rough part about it is the CIA, although they released the documents, they did not format them in a way that's very searchable. So you have to kind of dig through it manually, which can be done. But I'm going to be putting up an additional link for an outfit, some folks, they call themselves the Black Vault, if I remember correctly. And they were so kind as to take these declassified documents and put them in a searchable format. So check out that link as well. And you can also find on the Black Vault site that there are missing pages that they were able to get a hold of that weren't in the original CIA dump. So there's additional information in the Black Vault links, and I just put them both up so that you can see that the Black Vault is actually accurate in their information. It's just that they've sorted it and actually added to it. So it's good to have that. But back to the name game. I was jumping in onto the Freedom of Information cell and looking in there, hitting the usual marks that I like, Operation Paperclip and Brookhaven National Labs. You know, we're familiar with those guys. And in the other videos, I kind of like this little picture here of the umbrella of the OSS and the CIA we learned was basically covering for Paperclip and Brookhaven National Labs way back when. And we obviously know who supported those guys and how some of those connections were in the past. But again, you can go back to the video from previously. It was, I believe it was called the World War III Created on Long Island video, if I remember correctly. I'll put it down below. It'll be in the links. But back to the game. This time, instead of going through my usual searches, I went back and I threw my name in there. And that's where I get this name game from. So I threw my name, Hecker, into the CIA search engine just to see what kind of hits that I could get this time. Because I've done it before and I get new digs. So this time I came across an Operation Paperclip person with the same last name as me, and it was their actual transfer paperwork from Germany through the refugee transfer program into the US. And I found this document, it has the same last name as me, so I thought that was pretty interesting. And I just thought I'd throw some of those connections around there where I am finding my last name, and it's pretty interesting. So I have as of recently, I now have a gentleman from Operation Paperclip. Previously, I had found that there were two folks that shared my last name that were over at SRI. Another gentleman was at Los Alamos National Laboratories. And these aren't just some small folks. I should probably explain exactly. In Los Alamos National Laboratories, the gentleman that shares my last name was running the program in the 80s, and in the paperwork trail that I have presented previously in the programs that are working together. That was, I believe, Siegfried. Over at SRI, we have Sydney. And he was running the programs for the Stargate folks. Again, same programs, same time periods, same last name. It's just very interesting, all the dots that could be connected. Where else? Oh, an additional SRI person was on the East Coast by the name of Michael, and he was working the Stargate programs with the Monroe Institute folks. Again, this is all in my paperwork from previously, but I just thought I would remind you folks that this game is available and all these connections can be made. So you have OSS, CIA, Paperclip, Brookhaven National Labs, SRI, Los Alamos National Laboratories. Myself personally, I've been to 90 degrees South Antarctica. I mean, it's just interesting to me, you know, what's in a name? It's funny to me the connections that can be had. So I thought that maybe you folks might get a kick out of it. Try the links that I have. Throw your name in there. See what you can find out about deciphering your experience. I enjoy deciphering my experience. And I even have, you know, if you guys are interested in these topics, I mean, let me, I guess, pull together why I think this stuff is so important and that we should be paying attention to it. And basically, it's because of the topics. You know, it's one thing to say, oh, you know, all these things are connected. But I guess the pertinence, well, the pertinence would be that all of these people, believe it or not, were following the sciences of previous German programs were rather nefarious. And then when they came over here, the paperwork trail shows very clearly what they were working on. It started out as human experiments. It then went from human experimentation, which we have the names of the board members that were on the panel overseeing the experiments and the personnel that were doing the experimenting. But it went from human experimentation to the idea of remote viewing, I guess you would say, in a way of experimenting. And they went from the idea of using anomalous mental phenomenon, remote viewing, to the idea of going the other direction. And it got into more of controlling. And then the controlling aspect, they started to learn about energies. And then when they started to learn about energies, then they started to learn about time and time travel. So these are the experiments and things that everybody in these programs and all these people that are interconnected were working on. So if you are interested in the history of human experimentation, the study of mind control, how it turned into free energy, and then how eventually it became time travel, and then alien technologies were involved as well. These are the things that you could take a look at on this site. You'd be amazed at what they have available nowadays, and it's stuff that 20 years ago you couldn't discuss. I do have some topics. If you want to take a peek at some other things, I would suggest that you also try taking a look on this site. Look up Brookhaven National Labs. Look up Los Alamos National Labs. Try checking neighborhoods that you're familiar with that you could look into. Anything that popped in your head that seemed kind of odd. Keywords, just think of keywords. Another area for me that I think of on Long Island that I find wildly interesting is a town called Roslyn, which is also in the paperwork with a very rich history. There's also a town called New Rochelle, which also has a very rich history with the Operation Paperclip program and shuttling the Paperclip participants in between the New Rochelle train station and all the way out to Camp Siegfried, which was out in Camp Upton, which was just due north of Brookhaven National Labs property and right over by Tesla at the Wardenclyffe facility. So Long Island has a rich history of things that could be searched if you happen to be a Long Islander and interested in these topics. But I'd be very interested to hear from you folks and some of the places that you've been to that you might find odd. If you could look these things up, if you could share the stuff that you find, put it down in the comments, take a look at these links, and Yeah, so there's also in the links I'm going to have as well, I'm going to have a couple of different articles that are Brookhaven related that might give you a little bit more history into the background of all things Brookhaven, because I think it's a very important location. But I'll have all the links in there that I had promised, and then I'm going to put in a couple of bonus links for some PDF attachments. I know some of you folks out there are really big into digging through this stuff, and I don't want to go through everything with a fine-tooth comb. At some point, you guys are going to have to do the digging as well and follow me along this path. But I have 2 additional PDFs that I put on there, and I'd be interested to see people's thoughts on them if you want to burn through them, and get in touch with me. Let me know your thoughts. I hope to hear from you guys and get all of your comments. I appreciate all the emails, all the feedback that I've been getting, and I hope to hear from you guys. I want to do more videos and keep you guys from getting bored out of your skull. So have a great day. It was nice talking to you.